shit real good. Hey, hello, welcome to day 2 of our wealth building challenge. We came on a little early so that we can let some people come in, get some housekeeping items underway, and do a little tiny recap of yesterday where we talked about cash flow. And as you are coming in, we talked yesterday that if you're in the group, if you're in the 6 building blocks group, you won't be able to share this stream, unfortunately, but after the stream is over, we'll post a link where you can share it. If you're watching outside of the group, then you should be able to share this stream. So be sure to share this stream so that other people can join in and they can get this amazing information to implement into their life, build more lasting wealth in 2021, stronger than ever, and be financially prepared for 2022 and beyond to kick some ass, right?
That's right. So
I'm listening to us.
And then tag people that you know, invite them to the group so that they can participate and get this information. Do you want others to have access to the same information that you're getting? So tag people, let them know. We're going to do a giveaway shortly as soon as we get officially day 2 started. So we're going to do a recap. We're going to do a recap of day 1 where we cover cash flow. Where's my notes from day 1?
Oh, that's a good question. I put them away.
Okay. So
want me to go get them?
No, we're gonna ask Ring to grab them. Tell her where it is and she'll grab them.
Well, I will have to actually get it because it's.
So why don't you go and I'll keep that rolling. What's up, Jay Hemphill? So look, guys, yesterday was day 1 of our wealth building challenge. We talked about cash flow, the importance of cash flow. We talked about the conditions of exchange. Some of you guys had the chance to do a little homework, which was on what was your ideal income? What do you want your ideal cash flow to look like?
Oh, yeah.
Because look, everybody's got an ideal life they want to live. I want a certain amount of income. I want to travel a certain way. Maybe I don't want to go stay in the cheapest hotel, right? If that's not I don't know if that's anybody's ideal life. Nobody woke up and said, hey, the thing I want to do today is go on a family trip and stay in the cheapest motel they got.
Okay, so Mr. Matthews has helped me grow and expand in my willingness to spend more when it comes to traveling, hotels, flights, clothes. Because listen, I like a good deal, okay? I like a good deal, and I don't mind sacrificing, some things sometimes to get a good deal. And there would be some hotels I would be looking for like the cheapest price. And he would be like, oh no, I'm not going to stay. There's been a few times where we checked into a hotel and we got in the room and he's like, I'm not staying here. And he's made us leave and go get a different hotel. Cause he's like,
one time we had to do that 1 in the morning.
I am not staying here.
I walked in, I'm like, no,
listen,
I'm sorry.
The high maintenance one of this couple is not
Jay
me.
Hemphill
Let
says,
me tell you.
Yeah, the spender.
Yeah, so look, he's a little bit of a diva, but he has helped to increase my quality of life.
I don't like bad environments. Look, let me tell you something, man. We're talking about cash flow in your ideal life because you got to have certain rules that you operate on, certain standards that you operate on. So I grew up in a war-torn country in West Africa. Now that I got $1 or $2, I don't want to have to stay somewhere that I can afford not to. Because when I lived in the war in Liberia, I had to be where I was. There was no escape. I had to be where I was dealing with that situation. Right. So now that I'm in America and I can afford to stay in a nicer hotel, then that's what I will do. So I won't stay in the cheapest place. That's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Another rule that we have is
he also likes to fly first class without me.
Well, she doesn't like to fly first class.
That's not true. I don't like to spend the extra money.
She doesn't like to spend extra money. Sometimes I don't tell her what it is. I just book the flights and then we just go that way.
And then I see the credit card.
Yeah. So, but one thing
Usually,
is,
a lot of times it's the women, doing the high spending.
well, we get miles on our card.
We do, that's true.
One rule that we have as in our family when we travel is direct flights, right? So we don't do the connecting flights things.
Yeah.
So sometimes it may be cheaper to fly connecting flights and all that, but you can get delayed and get stuck in some city and all that. So we one of our rules. So all of that is part of your ideal life. How do you want to live life? How do you want your life to roll? How do you want it to go? What do you want it to look like? That requires a certain amount of money, right? That's just on this planet. You need money. That's how it is on this planet. You don't pay for your grocery hugs. You don't pay for your grocery kisses. Maybe some of you do. I'm already going down the wrong track.
All right, let's take it on back.
Maybe some of you pay for your groceries with hugs and kisses, but the store doesn't accept hugs and kisses. Okay, so you gotta bring some money. You gotta bring some money, and that's what we talked about with the cash flow yesterday. You gotta have some cash to flow when you go to buy them groceries for them babies. Okay, so in order to do that, you got to know what your targets are. If you don't have, and we talked about tracking and cash flow yesterday, we talked about tracking, how you got to track your money that's flowing to you and the money that's flowing away from you, right? And how can you use this to go get more money, right? These pieces of paper here, how can you use that to go get more money? So very vital to understand that. A lot of you guys did a great job on your homework, posting in what your income that you wanted to make was, what your target was. If you have no target, guess what you will hit? Zero. You will hit nothing. You have no target. In life, you need to have target. She was a target. Okay, I like her. I see her. I want her. She became a target. I have to go acquire her. You understand? Same thing with your assets. Same thing with this. You got to have an income target.
Okay, but who really closed the deal?
You did. You had to be the closer. She had to close me.
I sent him a calendar invite for our marriage date.
I don't think people are ready to hear that story yet.
Okay, you know what I really love, you guys, is I really love seeing your intro videos.
Yeah.
I love seeing the challenges. I love seeing your ideal life, the things that make up your ideal life and what that is going to cost. And I love seeing you guys grow and expand past your comfort zone. There's some people who haven't done videos before, like this is their first time, and they're going out, they're showing up, they're expanding, they're ignoring the barriers, they are getting outside of their comfort zone because they know to get to the next level, you got to do something bigger than you're doing now. And so I love seeing you guys implement the information that we're sharing with you, because we're not just saying it to like tell you and be like, oh, we're so smart. No, these are things that we've implemented into our life that has increased, expanded the quality of our life and our business and the clients that we've been able to help, and they implement into their life. And so I love, it's so rewarding for us to see like real time, see you guys putting this into your life, implementing it, growing and expanding, setting targets and goals. And we want to help hold you accountable. We want to cheer you on, and we want to see you reach those goals. So keep sharing, keep pushing past your comfort zone, keep taking notes, and don't just take notes and like put it aside. Like look at your notes and look at what can I do to get closer to my ideal life? What can I do to strengthen my finances? And then go and take action every single day. Every single day. It doesn't matter where you are right now. If you continue every single day taking steps forward, then you can absolutely reach your financial goals. You can create your ideal life, and you can have an unbreakable financial house.
Yes.
All right. So we have 2 minutes until we get started on day 2 of our wealth building challenge.
Why don't you guys drop in the comments? One of the exchanges you guys can do for us, we talk about the conditions of exchange, is to comment. If you like something we're saying, or if you have a thought, if you have a question, drop it in the comments. So drop in the comments what you guys learned yesterday. What was something you learned, or what was a takeaway from yesterday when we talked about cash flow? So For me, it's absolutely completely thinking about. Actually, I'll let you guys talk about that first. So, what stood out for you, so I don't influence your decision. But on cash flow, it's extremely important to understand how much money you need. And most people underestimate how much money they need to survive in America, to live the way they want to live. Maggie Forster, what is one takeaway? You say you learned everything. What is one takeaway that you got from it? So Ash says, I learned it's good to have more than two bank accounts, just a savings and checking. Absolutely. One of the things we talk about is having your money separate. First, you got to have your business. If you have a business, you have a business accounts and your personal accounts separate. Then within your household, you can have different accounts for different purposes. What this does is puts you in a position of control over your money. You are like the air traffic controller, right? You're the air traffic controller of your money. You're the money traffic controller. You got to route that money. You got to tell it where to go. Specific things it's going to. I wanted to go here. I wanted to do this. I want to do that. And also keeping your money in different accounts. We keep money in different accounts in different banks. One of the reasons is, what if one of my banks got compromised? What if one of my accounts got compromised? One of the things I'm able to then do is all of my money is not sitting all in one place. See, so I don't want, so that creates another layer of separation if any of my bank accounts ever got compromised. So keys, lots of things. You guys are dropping a lot of things on there where you're doing what you learned so far.
Money personalities, yes.
I have no bank account.
So key.
So Jamie, one of the easiest things you can do is Capital One 360. You go to Capital One, you can actually open a bank account easily. It's free. The checking account's free, savings account's free, and there's no minimum balance for Capital One. So that was one that was awesome. Stats. Went over stats yesterday. Stat lesson blew our away. So
yeah,
we keep stats on everything. We keep stats on all kinds of stuff in our business. Everybody has a stat. Once you start to confront your stats, first you keep them, then you got to look at them. How well am I actually doing in this area? Boom. From there, then you can improve upon it. So that's great. Hey, we appreciate all the transparency, guys. Appreciate all the transparency. Appreciate you guys sharing. So why don't you kick off?
All right. It is 12 p.m. Eastern, and that means it is time for day 2 of our wealth building challenge, where we're going to cover 2 building blocks today. Remember, there are 6 building blocks to your financial house, and when you implement them properly and strengthen them, you can actually build an unbreakable financial house, so you can handle anything that comes your way. Your financial house is unbreakable, unshakable. You can create the life that you truly want to live, make the impact that you truly want to make, and we want to help you do that. So we're introducing you to these 6 building blocks, which are cash flow, we covered yesterday, debt management, reserves, which we're covering both of those today. Tomorrow we'll cover proper protection. The 4th day, we are going to cover build wealth, and the 5th day, we're going to cover build legacy. So as you come in, let us know where you're joining from. If there's anyone that you think would benefit from this, you can tag them. I'm not sure if it lets them know, being that the group is private, but we can give it a shot, and we'll have a link after that you can share the stream, and you can invite people into the group. If you officially signed up for the challenge, you can hopefully pull out your notes. We sent out day 2 notes for debt management and reserves. So you want to take notes. There's going to be some fill in the blanks. There's going to be some challenges, and we're going to kick off today with our winner. Okay, we have 2 winners today. We're going to give you one right now, and then at the end, we're going to announce another one. Okay, so today's number 1 winner, the first winner, and this is for doing an introduction video. Okay, we want, if you haven't done your introduction video, please do your introduction video, 1 minute or less, who you are, where you're from, and what you want to get from the challenge. We love getting to know you and how we can support you. So today's $50 winner for an introduction video is Dina Kelly.
Congrats to
Congratulations,
Dina.
Dina. And we want to, everyone in the stream right now, be sure you congratulate Dina. After this stream, Dina, please reach out to us and we'll get you your cash money.
Send us a DM.
And when you guys win, let me tell you something. You have to show up because you have to hear that you are a winner, and you have to reach out to us to let us know that you are a winner and where we can send the cash money. Okay, so for everyone else, let's congratulate Dina. You want to celebrate other people's wins so that people celebrate your wins when you are a winner or when you do something awesome. Okay, so congratulations, Dina. Awesome job. And then later at the end, you want to definitely stick around and we're going to announce our second $50 winner. But today we are going to talk about building block number 2 and building block number 3, debt management and reserves. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the overall, this is called a valuable final product. Basically, this is what we're delivering to you in this challenge. It's the exchange. Okay. So you're going to get a clear understanding of what an unbreakable financial house is and how to build it in your life and business. Okay, and then today specifically having to do with debt management, building block number 2, you're going to get a clear understanding of the different types of debt and the confidence in knowing how to use them to strengthen your financial house in your life and business. Okay, and as we get to reserves, I'll tell you what we're going to deliver to you in reserves as well. And I want you guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them. If we don't get to them while we're live, then we will answer them after, okay? And this is the time to get your workbook out, okay? This is what workbook day 2 looks like, and it has debt and reserves on there, okay? So get it out. If you don't have your workbook, just get a notepad and a pen or something to write with, take notes, and be thinking about where you are now with this information that we're sharing, and then where you want to be and what are the steps to fill in, okay? And at the end, we're going to also show you, we're going to invite you and tell you how you can get more and how you can actually go through these 6 building blocks with someone from our team to help you implement all of these things. Okay, so anything else before we move on?
No.
Okay, so pull out your workbook. If you have it, start filling it out. If you don't, just take notes. Okay, so debt is blank. So we go through a lot of definitions because it's always important to understand the words that we're talking about. Make sure you fully understand them so you can implement them properly. Okay, so we're going to go through some definitions. And also when we talk about debt, oh man, debt is an emotional topic for a lot of people. Okay, a lot of people have guilt when it comes to debt. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to confront it. But listen, we're very matter of fact. We want to help you confront your money. We want to help you confront your financial situation. We want to make learning about money fun and easy. Okay, so it's just a matter of fact. You are where you are. You got to confront it so that you can get the information you need to get to the next level. Okay, so debt is something owed. Simple as that, right? Debt is, this is the second line, an amount of money, goods, or services owed by one to another, right? Simple. Okay, the 2 main types of debt. Now, did you guys know there's 2 main types of debt? I want you to put in the chat if you know what the 2 different types of debt are. Now, if you've done a challenge before, you probably know what it is. So let's see if anybody new knows what 2 main types of debt there are. I think we have a little bit of a delay too. So let's see. Okay, so credit card and student loan.
She can't read without her glasses. Okay.
And Scott Stover, you got it. Good and bad debt. Okay, so the 2 main types of debt are good debt and bad debt. Okay, next line. Good debt is a loan that helps the potential to increase your net worth. Simply, good debt puts money in your pocket. Okay, this is things like cash flowing real estate. not the house you live in, the house you rent out and the renter is paying your mortgage, putting money in your pocket, okay? Bad debt is borrowing money to purchase liabilities, like going shopping on your credit card and letting the interest rate charge up. And unless those clothes or whatever you shop are going to help you make more money, it's not necessarily good debt. It's taking money out of your pocket, right? Okay, next line. This is vital to understand. Blank does not mean blank. Debt-free does not mean financially free. I'll say that again. Debt-free does not mean financially free. This is very important because a lot of people, their goal is to be debt-free, because then, you don't owe any debt. Oh, it feels so relieving. My house is paid off and my car is paid off, right? But where did that really get you? And I'm not saying that's bad. It's not bad to be debt-free, but here's the thing. You always want to think about, am I putting myself in a stronger financial position, or am I putting myself at financial risk? So I'll give you an example. And again, everyone is in a different place in their financial house. So it depends on where you are, what your financial goals are, and what the right actions to get you to those goals are. Okay, so I'll tell you an example. A lot of people have a goal to pay off their mortgage, right? They're putting all their extra money to pay off their mortgage. Sounds great, right? Then they have no mortgage, debt-free, boom, awesome, great. But what happens if you lose your job? You can't go to the mortgage company and say, hey, mortgage company, I've been paying you all this extra money, but now I lost my job, so I'm gonna need that money back. No. And you can't even take a home equity line of credit. So you may have paid off extra mortgage and you may have equity in your house, but if you don't have a job, you can't even borrow that money back. Okay, or what if somebody gets hurt or sick and it affects your income and you can't pay the mortgage? You can't get that money back. So instead of putting all your extra money, another way to look at it, you're usually only shown one side of the coin in life with decisions. There's two sides. You got to look at both sides and what's best for you. Usually somebody telling you you need to do it one way or you shouldn't do it this way, it's because they're selling the thing they want you to do, or they can't sell the thing they don't want you to do. So you just have to look at where is the information coming from and what's right for me and my family and my business. Okay, so instead of putting all your extra money into the mortgage, you could put that extra money aside, maybe in an account that even like earns interest. And then at that same time that you would have paid off your mortgage, guess what? You could do it if you want. Or if something happens along the way, if you get sick or hurt, you lose a job, something happens, a pandemic hits, right? You have that money. You made yourself financially stronger and you avoided the risk. Okay, so any financial decisions that you face, you want to always ask yourself, am I putting myself in a stronger financial position or a weaker financial position? Because that person that paid off their mortgage, they could end up right back in debt, because if something happens and they don't have the funds, they got to go charge up a credit card, borrow money, right? And they're no better off. So it doesn't mean you can't pay off your mortgage. It just depends on where you are financially. Okay. So that's what we have to share with you, specifically the main points about good debt and bad debt. So start thinking about, what kind of good debt do I have? What kind of bad debt do I have? What kind of good debt could I use to build wealth, right? Not all debt is bad. And some people will tell you all debt is bad. And again, you have to look at the source and why they're telling you an all or nothing thing.
Yeah.
Right?
So look, are you finished?
I'm done. I'm out. Just kidding. Mic drop.
So
lip gloss drop.
So look, lip gloss drop. So here's the thing. Well, here's one thing about all of this.
Too cheap to drop my mic.
Here's one thing about all of this. So good debt versus bad debt. I personally never want to be debt free. Why would I want to be? Why would I want to be debt free? If I want to go buy a property, the bank will lend me money to buy an asset, because the bank understands if I buy, let's say want to buy an apartment building, that apartment building has tenants in there that pays cash flow. What is the bank interested in? The bank is interested in lending to people who have the ability to pay them back, right? So if the bank lends to me for me to buy a property and I have tenants living in that property and the property is paying rent, the bank sees me as a valuable lender because it's not just based on my income, it's also based on the cash flow from that property. So that would be the example of good debt. So I want to be bad debt free and I want to be loaded with good debt that is appropriate for the amount of leverage I want to take. So you got to understand not everything is left or right or black and white. You have to understand what are you trying to do? And the only way you're going to be financially free is if you have you increase your active income. Your active income is when you go out and earn money. You have to go to work, you earn the money. You increase your active income greater than what you need to live. So you need this much to live. Your active income is this. So now you have what's called a surplus. We're going to talk about how do you force a surplus. So you have a surplus, you store the surplus, and you leverage that to buy income producing assets. Well, if I want to buy $1 million apartment building, I don't need to have the $1 million in order to control this $1 million asset. I need $250,000. I need 250,000. And then a bank will lend me 750,000 to buy this asset. You understand? So people may look at that and be like, oh, you have so much debt. Well, if you have debt that doesn't pay you, then that's bad. If you have debt that creates income for you, then that's good. See, that's a difference. So the reason we start about defining debt is so that you can have an understanding. Debt's not an emotional thing. All it is something owed. Nothing in the definition of debt, by the way, says I have to personally pay for this debt out of my personal income. Nothing about the definition of debt says that. So if I get debt and I go and buy a property and I have tenants that's paying the property, paying me rent every month, am I paying that money out of my personal income? No, it's coming from the tenants that's paying for it. They're paying down the debt. You understand? So nothing in the definition of debt says I personally have to pay it out of my personal income. You can use debt to buy assets, and that will be the example of good debt. All right, so that's a little bit of good debt in depth on understanding how these different things work, how you can utilize it to your advantage. It's also why it's important to understand credit, because look, in America, when I was in Africa, when I was a kid, 12 years old, 11, 12 years old, my very first business was a company called Jamku. Stands for Jerry and Martin's Credit Union. And because my goal was I would lend money to people and then it would pay me back with interest. I never really knew what a credit union was. In Liberia, people say, can you credit me money? So they use the word credit a lot. So I called it a credit union. And then my brother's name was Jerry. So I grabbed him and told him he needed to be part of this business thing I'm doing. I mean, we were like 12. He's older than me, but I was 12 and I was the mastermind of the whole thing. So we started this business and we probably went out of business because nobody paid me back. So my first business quickly went out of business and I realized, okay, so you got to figure out how you can actually get the people to pay back. So that's what banks are doing. They got to figure out, how do I lend to somebody and make sure this person can pay me back, right? I think I'm going to run away on me. So in order to do that, in America, there's a system device where it shows how worthy of a borrower you are. How qualified are you to borrow this money? And it's something called your credit. So I'll go into credit here and talk about that because it has to do with, if you're going to get debt to buy assets, you have to also look at your credit. If you have terrible credit, nobody's going to want to lend you any money because they're like, you've already shown you cannot pay back. If you don't have, your income is not sufficient enough, they're going to look at that and like, okay, you don't make enough money for us to lend you this money. So if you get your income up, surprisingly, people want to lend you more money. It's not funny how that happens. They want to lend money to people who don't need money. That's basically the deal. People don't desperately need it. That's who they lend money to. So on your second page, debt management says credit defined. So we're going to go over that. So credit is not only about money. It has everything to do with confidence and reliability. What does that mean? Confidence and reliability. So if I'm a lender, I need to have confidence or as high of a confidence that I can get to realize that this person is going to be able to pay me back. And they're going to be reliable enough to pay me back and pay me back on time that I don't have to worry about it, right? So credit has everything to do with confidence and reliability. So the word comes from a Latin word that means entrusting something to another. So if I'm lending somebody money, I'm entrusting this money to them, and with the idea that they're going to pay me back monthly and on time, right? So a credit score, the next line, credit score tells lenders your credit worthiness, how likely you are to pay back a loan based on your credit history. So they're going to look at your past and say, okay, are you deliver? Are you? What kind of behavior do you have? And here's one thing: money tells a story. Money will tell me a greater story about you than than the words coming out of your mouth. Basically, if I look at your finances, I don't even necessarily need to talk to you. I can look at how you handle your money, and it would tell me many things about you and your behavior. Not that it's good or bad. It's just what is really there, right? How you handle money, how you do stuff. So money tells a story. That's why anytime they're trying to catch the bad guy in a movie, they always follow the money because the money tells a story. There's a way you behave with money that's logical, and there's a way people behave with money that's illogical or irrational or weird. And when they start doing weird things, there's a reasoning for it. You can almost get a sense of the person's mindset based on what they're doing with their money. You can all of that can tell you what their mindset is, where their priorities are, all of that just by looking at their money. That's why credit banks, anybody lending you money is very interested in like your credit worthiness. What is your financial history? What have you done? So three major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, they're all required to provide consumers with a free credit report a year. And then because all of them are different, they report differently. They all may have different information about you. Some of them may have an old debt still on there that shouldn't be on there. Some of them may have a charged off account or something like that should not be on there. So you want to make sure you're looking at your credit from all those different credit bureaus so you understand what is on your credit. What is your credit score? What are the things that are impacting your credit? Is it accurate? Are there things that should not be on your credit report that is on there? The only way to know that is by looking up your credit, looking up your credit score, and looking up your credit report and seeing what is there so that you make sure it's accurate. And if you owe that debt, can you handle it? Or is the debt that's been on there for so long that something can be done to get it off? Different things that you can do to start looking at that, right? So most credit scores, so credit score, next line, most credit scores have a 300 to 850 score range, right? So there's a range. Most lenders use the FICO score to determine your credit worthiness if you view that as the most accurate representation of your finances. So understand you may want to look up also your FICO score to see what lenders are looking at in terms of your credit worthiness, how worthy you are to borrow money, things like that. If you're just getting started, sometimes your bank may have it. There's Credit Karma. Credit Karma over the years have not been as accurate. So some certain banks will allow you to. Sometimes you have a bank account and they may give you your FICO score through there. Like Bank of America does that. It's one of the banks I have as well. And Capital One does some other stuff too, where you can get access to some of your credit score and see it kind of updated as your credit is updated. So let's look at what makes up your credit score, right? So we're talking about debt defined. We're talking about how the difference between good debt and bad debt, how it all works. So what makes up your credit score? So in the first line, 35% is payment history. What is your history in paying people back on time? Are you late? Do you pay them way past when it's supposed to? All of these different things that look at that, your payment history. Do you pay people on time? Those are things that are super important when it comes to evaluating your credit, right? So, and then the next line is 30% is the amount owed of credit utilization. So if I have $10,000 of available credit, they look at how much of that available credit am I using. So a good rule of thumb is to never use more than 30% of your available credit. So if I've got $10,000 available on a credit card, for example, don't use more than $3,000 on that credit card. Ideally, if you keep it to 10%, that's even better. The reason to look at it is they're looking at your financial discipline. Remember, They're not going to come to your house and ask you about your life. What they have is your behavior. They can look at your financial behavior to determine what's happening in your world, right? So if you have a credit card with $10,000 on it, $10,000 credit limit on it, and you're only using, $1,000 of that, they say, oh, they look at that and say, okay, well, this person, they seem to be more financially disciplined. They're not using a tremendous amount of their available credit, and they probably have a good enough income that they're paying everything on time, all of that. So that is a major impact on your credit score, is the credit utilization. So keep that, don't go above 30%, and ideally keep it to around 10% because that's even better. So the next line is 15% makes up your credit score. 15% is the length of your credit history. How long? Because somebody wants to know, you just didn't start doing this, and then you did this for 6 months or 3 months, and now you just got 3 months worth of credit history. Well, 3 years of credit history is better. 10 years of credit history is better than 3 months, because now they have a longer period to see your financial behavior, to see ups and downs, maybe job changes. Were you still able to pay things on time, stuff like that?
100 years is best.
100 years is best. So they'll look at that, so they look at all of those things for the length of your credit history. And because they're looking to see, can you do things consistently? It's just like if you lose weight, right? If you lose weight, are you going to, did we freeze? Somebody said it just froze. Can you guys still see us okay? Or is it just one person that's having a problem? If it froze for you, you can log out and log back in. Otherwise, just let me know. Okay. So Edward may just be on your end. You may want to log out and log back in. So how long you've had this credit for, very, very important, because it's also an important part for you to be able to determine that. So another tip here is, if you have a credit card that you don't use it very often, don't close the credit card. Number of ways that works against you is that it counts as your available credit. So if you have a $10,000, if you have $10,000 credit limit, right, and you have $3,000, let's say you got 2 credit cards. You got one for $5,000 and another for $5,000. So in total, you got $10,000, right? And you have $3,000 on one of those cards, and this other card has nothing. This $5,000 credit limit has nothing. And you're like, well, I never use this other card with $5,000. And I got this one here. I got $3,000. I'm going to focus on paying this one off. So I'm just going to close that other account because I never use it, and I don't want to be tempted to use it, whatever. So you go and you close that other $5,000 credit line, and now you only have $5,000 available credit. Well, when you only have $3,000 used on your $10,000 credit limit between the 2 cards, that was a 30% utilization rate. You're only using 30% of your available credit. But now you got rid of that other card, you close that account. Now you only have $5,000 credit limit, and you're using 3,000 of that. That's a high utilization rate, and that would negatively affect your credit. So you could have kept that account opened and just had that credit available, even use it a little bit for different things and pay on it, so that they can keep that account open, so that the credit card company doesn't close that.
Yeah, let me tell you what, you do not want to just have a bunch of credit cards or any credit cards that have zero balance for too long, because they will close your credit card. Yeah. We had that happen before, where there was like a card where we just had it sitting, no balance, and they closed it because we weren't using it. They want you to use the credit, but you have to be responsible. So one of the ways that I very first started building my credit, like when I was 18, is I would like pay my groceries and pay my gas, and I would pay things on my credit card, but I would actually put the money aside. Would put that money aside so that I had it to pay it off, and then I would pay it off, and then I would charge it, and then I would pay it off. So the tricky thing is not overcharging what you can't pay back.
Yeah.
And then one really quick thing when it comes to business credit is, when you have a new business, you've got to establish business credit. And it can be tough sometimes, because first you may have to attach it to your personal credit. So it depends on what your personal credit score and history and all of that is. Sometimes you can start to get lines of credit or loans that may be really high interest for a really small amount. Sometimes that may not be a bad idea if you get it, you get the credit line or you get the loan, and then guess what? You just use that loan or that credit line to pay it back. So that way you're showing that you're borrowing money, you're using it, and you're paying it back. And then over time, you can start to get approved for a higher amount and a lower interest rate. And that's one of the ways you can build business credit.
Yeah. So there are lots of things when you're first getting started and your business doesn't have a lot of history that can impact it. So question on here is, if the bank's offering a credit line increase, should you consider taking it? Yes, it's usually it doesn't affect your credit score,
but don't go max it out.
Yeah, don't take it and then go use it, but take it so that you have more utilization.
Who is Facebook user?
I'm not sure. So whoever that is, you need to go to StreamYard. You need to click on the link StreamYard.com/Facebook, and that will give permission so they can do the show.
And that's at the top of the thing.
It's on the top there, or it can also be in I think Ring dropped it in there earlier. So then someone says, I'm so afraid of credit cards. I have two. I try to pay things such as bills, stuff I'll be paying for anyways. Yeah. So to make sure you have the right discipline on your credit cards, use it for things that you have the money to pay it off with, like gas or groceries and stuff like that. But then also you can pay it and then pay it off right away because you already have that money. Where a person can go out discipline on it is if they don't pay it off right away and then it adds up. Like, oh, I got the money, I don't feel like paying the credit card, even though I just added something to it. So use that. One of the things we do is for flights. So we live in Georgia, so Delta is here. They fly everywhere. So we have a Delta Amex card. And so we use that. I use that primarily for flights and a few other things. And then we pay on it. And so that's how we do it. Yeah.
And they have first class. I used to fly on Southwest. And Martin was like, they don't have first class.
They don't have a first class, yes.
So,
so yeah, and you don't, there's no special place for you to put your bags on Southwest. Everybody just
it's free checking, 2 bags. Delta charges you.
Not when you have the card. Not when you have the Delta
for
card.
One.
We have the Delta card. Yeah. Things you don't know about Chelsea. When she travels, she requires 2 suitcases.
And I have to check them both because one is for my clothes, which is a big suitcase. And then I need 1 suitcase for my bathroom stuff because I had my bathroom stuff leak all over my clothes before and never again. So I have to have my own suitcase just for my bathroom stuff. But you can't, even if it's in a carry-on bag, you can't have all the liquid and all that stuff. You got to check it. So I have to check at least 2 bags.
Yeah, so she checks. Every time she flies, she has to have 2 bags. So a lot of times the airline cards are good. Somebody asked which are good for airlines. There's also Capital One has a venture card that you can use on many different airlines. I like Delta because we fly Delta. I like Delta as an airline. It's a highly rated airline. And they have good rewards.
The Delta card's through American Express, right?
Yes. So it's a Delta Amex card. And they have a lot of cool rewards.
Different options.
You get to go to the lounge. You get to have a free flight. You get to accumulate points. You get like a bunch of points on there. I've used it. You get some upgrades and different things like that. So I like Delta. I like flying Delta. They're very friendly to me. And
okay, so Rockin' Robin says, I'm so afraid of credit cards. I have 2, so I try to pay things such as bills, gas, groceries.
We read that one.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you can finish reading it, but it wasn't. We'll put it on the screen here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did we talk about it?
Yeah, we talked about making sure you want to use it for groceries.
I must have been looking at something else.
Then you can pay back on
yeah, and also building the discipline so you have the confidence in being able to use it and not have fear about it or overcharging it. Did you already say that?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was probably messaging or checking on something. And I should pay better attention.
You should. Yes, absolutely.
I do now when he starts talking. I'm just kidding. Kind of. Okay, so now, anything else having to do with credit?
Yeah, we still got to finish up the credit mix. So the last 2 lines, so the next one is 10% of your credit mix is the mix of the credit you have, like a mortgage, your credit card, student loans, all kinds of different things, your credit mix. So that's 10%. And then 10% is new credit, recently opened accounts. So one of the things the companies will look at is, have you been opening a bunch of credit cards recently? or you kind of open a new credit line because maybe you're getting a car loan and it's been a few years since your last car loan, those kinds of things. So always look for things like that that make up your credit. So 35, 30, 15, 10, 10. So those are the numbers in there that makes up your credit score.
All right, so now we are going to move on to, there's one quick point that I wanted to touch on, the importance of, if you're in a relationship or a business relationship too, romantic or business, and you guys have to make financial decisions together. Now, if it's business, it may...
Or maybe your romantic relationship is a business.
So anyways, the point is, it's a good idea to have a discussion about, gosh, you look so pale next to you.
That's why she got with me. She wanted to...
I need some sun. Good goal.
She didn't want to be invisible.
Yeah. Okay, so importance of knowing your partner's credit score. This is something that's not generally talked about. You don't go on a date and be like, so what's your credit score? No, you talk about other things, and we're going to not go down that road. Okay, so it's a good idea to have the conversation. How many what?
How many bodies they got?
How many bodies they got?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
That means how many people they've been with.
Oh my God. I've never even heard it said like that. It sounded like you're saying like how many people they've killed or something. How many, what's your body count?
Come on,
anyways, back on track here.
Get with the talk on the street.
So have a discussion. I don't know the talk on the street, okay? So have a discussion about your credit score, what's on it, because usually it doesn't come up until there's a problem, until maybe you apply for a house or you apply for, some kind of credit. What?
I was just thinking about this second date I had.
I was always just thinking.
The second date I had, and this girl showed up with this report on my dad. My dad used to be Secretary of State in my country. And she showed up, she printed an article, and she was asking me where I was from and all that. So I told her, and then she went home, and then she printed this report on my dad.
Are you talking about me?
No, not you. This report on my dad on the second day. She's like, oh, I read all about your dad. You want to see what I found? So she handed it to me. I'm like, I know about him. Okay.
Well, when I met him, I had never heard of your country. And I looked up and I Googled him, like, is he really telling me the truth? I Googled your dad, I Googled your country. Is he telling the truth? So anyways, have a discussion before it comes up and you realize that, all this crap is on your partner's or your credit score, okay? Because I did date somebody before that I thought I was helping them pay some medical expenses. Turns out it was child support. I was helping somebody else pay child support. Yeah, and I found out, that was a real good relationship.
She met a city boy.
A city boy?
Yeah, the city girls and city boys. How come you're not up on the lingo, man?
Because I am, doing better things with my life.
City girls versus city boys.
Oh, yeah,
that's
those girls.
Okay.
So everyone, we are moving on. We are moving on, moving up and moving on, okay? Next thing that we are going to talk about is reserves. We're moving on to building block number three, reserves, okay? And this is vital to withstand unexpected occurrences. Okay, so
I think we need to do a TikTok video on financial questions to ask on the first date. Yeah, totally. Hey, and we acted out what's your credit score? So anyway.
All right. So here's what we're going to deliver to you when it comes to reserves. Okay. So you are going to have you're going to fully understand the importance of reserves and know exactly how to properly build them so they can continue to expand in your life and business. All right, so first thing on your workbook.
So note that idea, Dravis, that where we say a TikTok video, we're going to do first date financial questions. We'll have a lot of fun with that.
All right, so reserves, next page on your workbook, and there is blank must be greater than blank and blank.
Blankety blank.
I'll give you that again. blank must be greater than blank plus blank. Okay, so income, the money coming in, must be greater than expenses, the money going out. You may have heard that more must be coming in than going out, but have you heard plus reserves? So income must be greater than expenses plus reserves, because it's not enough to just have money to pay the bills. You got to have a surplus to be able to put money aside for reserves. Okay, so there's two definitions that I have for you when it comes to reserves. What?
On Instagram.
Is there a
Can you guys
question?
hear us okay?
I can't hear
Somebody's here.
anything.
So sign in and sign out on IG and let us know. All right, so keep going.
But there's more people, there's multiple people that are saying it. Let me see. Oh, do we have to turn this up? Now can you guys hear us? Okay, so hopefully that works. Let us know in the chat if that works better. Okay, so two definitions.
Sign language. Can you guys hear us?
Can you hear? Oh God, I can't even sign. Okay, so first definition when it comes to reserves is held back for future or special use. Huh? Temperature? Okay. So held back for future
said nothing.
or special use.
We might need to end it and turn.
Okay.
And now, yeah,
share. And sorry guys, hold on one sec.
No, just go plus at the plus on the top.
Okay. God, I just can't do anything.
No, you're on the right place.
Oh my God, you guys. Oh, live. Ah! I'm good at a few things, and then I'm not very good at a lot of other things. That's not my strength. Okay, so number one definition for reserves is held back for future or special use. Number two is to set aside or apart. Okay, this is very important when it comes to reserves because this is money. As you're coming in over here on Instagram, let us know if you guys can hear us, okay? So this is very important because you want to have it separate, not part of your expenses. Remember when we talked about tracking, we talked about separate bank accounts. So your reserves is a separate account. And it's very important to understand what these reserves are for. And it's very important to understand why we call it reserves. Okay, so the next, underneath the two definitions, when to use reserves. This is for emergencies. Okay, so remember, and what does it mean to have an emergency? Well, you got to ask yourself, are you putting yourself at financial risk or financial strength? Okay, so when you are considering what is an emergency, this is something that's actually an emergency that you have to use money from your reserves. So examples could be like your car breaks down, or unexpected car trouble, unexpected medical expenses, or like a job loss, okay? When not to use reserves. A shoe sale, okay, ladies, I know it seems like an emergency, but it is not for reserves. That would come out of your expenses. Or your fun account. It would be your fun account, unless like your shoes are for business or something like that. Okay, reserves is not for a vacation. That is your plan account. That's where you're gonna plan and you're gonna put money aside for. Okay, it is not for regular car maintenance. It is not for regular medical expenses, like going to the doctor or the dentist, things you would regularly do. It's like if you have to go to the hospital, you break something, you get sick and have to go to the emergency, something like that, okay? So always be thinking, is this an emergency? Ask yourself, is it putting yourself in a stronger financial position? Is it something you cannot do without? Or are you putting yourself in a weaker, putting yourself at financial risk because you spent money on a vacation or on a shoe sale and now you don't have that money in reserves for when you actually need it. Now, it is very important that we call this account reserves. This building block is reserves. We don't call it emergency fund because remember, we talk about getting in the right mindset. You got to get your mind right to get your money right. And what you think about is what you attract. It's what you expand on. It's what you look for. So if you have an emergency fund, guess what you're going to expect? Emergencies. Okay. And so it's very important that we call it reserves because we're building reserves. We're building it up, right? We're not expecting emergencies. When you are looking at building reserves, you expect less emergencies. And also, when you build reserves, you're not as worried about emergencies. And they tend to not happen as much. Or even if something does, it's not an emergency because you have that money set aside. So you can just handle it. Remember when we talked about what an unbreakable financial house is, you can handle anything that comes your way. So you have reserves, boom, something happens, no big deal. You got reserves, you handle it, you move on. Just like we just went through this pandemic and like worldwide shutdown, and a lot of people who made a lot of money were financially destitute because they did not have reserves. Okay, so this is very, very important. Now, if you don't have a reserve account separate from all the other accounts, I'm going to give you 4 steps right now that you could do. You're going to write this down in your workbook, and these are the steps you're going to do to start building reserves. Okay, number 1, you're going to open an account completely separate from any other accounts. Could even be a different bank. But like Martin said, we like Capital One because you can have a free checking and you can have like 3 savings accounts for free also. So you open an account designated just for reserves. And then you think about, okay, what are the things that it does count to use and what are the things that it does not count to use? Stay committed. All right, number 2 is decide on a dollar or percent that you are going to regularly contribute into this reserve account. So however you get paid, you can decide on, if it's a set amount, you can decide on a dollar amount, or you can just decide on a percent amount. Like maybe you get paid in commission. And so maybe you can have a certain percentage that you want to go into your reserve account. It doesn't matter as much the amount that you decide on as it matters that you commit to it. So you decide that dollar amount. When I started doing this, I literally started with $1. I started doing this before I even met Martin. And I started putting reserves aside. It was literally a measly $1, okay? But it was just getting in the habit of putting money aside. And then guess what? Once I got in that habit, then I started finding ways, I started increasing my income and I started finding ways to put more and increase the amount and increase the percentage. Okay, so number 1 is open an account separate from any other accounts. Number 2, decide a dollar amount or a percentage amount. And number 3, your first goal is to get your reserve account up to $1,000. Okay, because most small emergencies like a car emergency or something like that, $1,000 will help you cover. Okay, so $1,000 is your first goal. And then that's number 3. Now, number 4, after that, your goal is to get 1 month of your expenses in reserves. Then once you do that, 3 months of your expenses. After that, 6 months of your expenses, and on and on and on. Okay, so you're going to continue to expand on those reserves because guess what? If you had a job loss, like after the pandemic, it took a long time for some people to find work if they got let go, if their company shut down, right? So you want to be able to be in a strong financial position. You want to have the amount of reserves that you need, which could be unknowable. And so you want to just continue growing those reserves. And then once you get up to, a certain amount, then there's other places that you can start putting it as well. And you can start growing, you can start putting it to work for you. But it's when you've gotten to kind of like, you have that foundation of your reserves. And in just a little bit, when we wrap up, I'll tell you where you can actually go and you can apply for a strategy call with us. And we'll actually walk you through each of these 6 building blocks. We'll learn about where you are and the exact steps that you need to take to get to the next level. So if you'd like help with that, we'll tell you at the end where you can go to do that. All right, so that is building reserves. And now that's building reserves in general. And now we want to also talk about building reserves in business because that is key. Just like in your personal finances, you need to have reserves in business. man, you got to have reserves, because that's the difference of a business staying in business or going out of business. If something happens and they don't have reserves set aside,
Yeah.
and it affects not just your household, but the whole company.
Yeah. So look, the business side of things, if you're a business person or you're thinking about starting a business, check on the thing there.
Yeah, I think it's like,
So if you're thinking about
The
starting a
connection.
business and you want to you want to project out your cash flow, how much money you need to make, whatever it is, you have to look at how much reserves you also need to have for your business. Because and for your household, you ever heard the phrase "pay yourself first"? You need to be able to push money to the side. That's part of your expenses. So the first thing is one of the main things is that the number one rule of business is your business has to continue to be in business. It has to last. A lot of businesses fail. The majority of businesses in America fail, right? So Chelsea and I have combined 21 years experience in the financial industry. So you have to build a business with the viewpoint that the business is going to last. So you may want to check that again. You just got to keep your eye on it.
I know, I think that it's,
So you have to make sure the business can last. You have to make sure you're able to navigate different times and handle different situations that'll come up. And some of the things you're not planning for that you might need to handle in your business. So whether you work for yourself, whether you're self-employed, whether you do real estate and you're a real estate agent or real estate broker, whatever it is, you have to look at putting some money aside for the business so that if something comes up that you need to handle business wise, you have resources there. So insolvent, the purpose of business reserves is to provide a cushion which can save a business if it is becoming insolvent. So what does insolvent means? So that's on the next line. Insolvent means expenses are greater than income. So expenses are greater than income. Your business ain't producing enough money. So it's an interesting thing because you have a lot of like these tech companies, they're not producing money, they're operating at a loss. Well, the reason why they're able to keep in operation is because you have people who pour money into it. They're called venture capitalists or initial like angel investors and things like that that put money inside of these companies to keep those companies running because at some point they either think the company is going to be profitable or the company is going to go public and many other investors are going to buy shares in the company and their value is going to go up, right? So that's how a lot of these companies are able to operate. Most companies are not able to do that. Most companies, you have to sell a product or service to get money. Now, you could get some financing. One of the ways you can get financing is through the SBA, Small Business Administration. They can help you get financing for your business. But a lot of times, the business would need to have some sales, something happening there already. So, like if you think about the TV show Shark Tank, on Shark Tank, those businesses are being invested in by you got to keep checking out, sweetheart.
I think it's dying.
The people have to be invested in the people that want to invest in companies that are producing revenue. They ask them, what's your sales? What's your numbers? How much did you sell? All of that because they're trying to make sure this is a viable company. So if a company is going to continue to be viable, let's say you have a sales slump. What if something affects your ability to operate? You still have to be able to have reserves so that you can continue to keep in motion. Because the number one rule of any business is to continue to remain in business. It has to continue to survive. That's how a business will stay. And if you continue to stay in business and you continue to make your products and services known, then you make revenue and then you make profits. So that's how business works. So the final secret of building strong reserves is this. Final secret of building strong reserves.
Dun, dun, dun.
You must disguise reserve. She always laughs when I pronounce this word. Disguise reserves as a bill you must pay.
He's not saying this, guys. He's saying
Disguise.
disguise.
Disguise. D-I-S-G-U-I-S-E.
When you try to
There's some words.
Over enunciate it.
There's
but
some
it even
words.
Sounds like
I grew up in a different culture.
I know. I don't pronounce a
and
lot
the
of
way
words
we
right.
talk
And I grew
over
up
there is different than how you talk in America, even though they're both English-speaking countries. However, when I pronounce certain words, they come out differently than how American people pronounce those
But
words.
you make fun of my American words too.
I do make fun of it because you're in your
I
own country and you still say it badly.
and I
She
make up
says,
my own words.
she says across, across, like go across the way. She says go across.
I went across to the street.
Go across the street. So secret building reserves, you got to disguise it as an expense. What do I mean by that? I mean you have to make sure that you are putting money into reserves like you would be paying a bill, right? Look at it like a bill you must pay. Like you're gonna pay your electricity bill. Yeah, the sugar daddies are paying bills out there. So if your sugar daddy pays your bills, take some of that sugar daddy money and put it into reserves. Okay, that's how you do it. So making sure you disguise.
Don't spend all your sugar baby money.
Don't spend all your sugar baby money. You don't know when that sugar daddy's gonna pass away,
Yeah.
or find a younger sugar baby.
And he may not have left you in the will.
Your sugar daddy
may not
leave
be
you in
the
the
only
will.
sugar baby.
You may not be the only sugar baby. You may find a younger sugar baby. You know, so that's how these sugar daddies roll. So I told Chelsea she can be a sugar mama, and she says no. I said if I die, she can be a sugar mama. She says she's like, no, I'm not gonna go find a broke guy and be a sugar mama.
No, nothing.
So Chelsea will not be a sugar mama, so that's good. She's not gonna use the assets that I leave when I die to go and be a sugar mama. Right?
Would you go be a sugar daddy?
No, I'm not gonna be a sugar daddy. So look, when you make sure you put money into reserves and you disguise it as a bill you must pay, I have to put this money into reserves. Then your reserves will build. As a company, it's very important because you have to plan out your cash flow with that in mind.
I don't think messages are coming up on here. Like Kendra says,
oh yeah,
I and hubby are recruiting a sugar daddy if anyone is accepting applications.
Yeah, see, everybody's looking for a sugar daddy.
A sugar family.
Sugar family.
And also, I put the link in there. I mentioned applying for a strategy call. If you guys want to, if you want to go through each one of these 6 building blocks and
where'd you put the link?
See, I posted it in here, but it's not showing up. That's why I was saying, I think not all of the things are showing up. This is in the group.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 6buildingblocks.com/strategy. 6buildingblocks.com/strategy. If you could put that in there, Rain. And you guys, if you want to apply for it, somebody in our team can help go through each one of those 6 building blocks and help you come up with a specific roadmap to identify exactly where you are and where you need to go in order to reach your financial goals, to have an unbreakable financial house.
Yeah, so look, your financial house can become unbreakable. These 6 areas we're going to go through on this 5-day wealth building challenge will help you understand what to do in each area, how to strengthen your financial house. Like Chelsea says, everybody's got a financial house. Some people have a financial shack, other people have a financial mansion, right? So it all depends. Maybe we can see the comments on here.
Yeah, I think the comments aren't showing up. So we'll be sure, if you asked a question and we didn't answer it, we'll be sure to go through all of them after.
On Facebook, when I comment, it freezes and I have to go out and come back.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll check it out. We'll make sure that we address all the questions. Jamie says, what if it's a good sale, talking about the reserves? Girl, that's going to come from your fund account. Yeah. You can get a good sale. You can get those things, but it's got to come from your fund account.
Yeah. So it's very important for you to have this in your business, though, because a lot of businesses went out of business because they didn't have sufficient reserves, and of course because they got shut down. So
it is time to announce our second winner of today. This is for turning on notifications. We had a challenge yesterday. And people are applying for strategy calls right now. So be sure to get your request in if you would like help in implementing these 6 areas. Okay, so this is we had a challenge for turning on notifications so that you can get notified when we go live and participate in the challenge live in real time. And let me tell you what. Both of these winners we announced earlier. Dina Kelly was #1 winner for doing the intro video. And when I was going through, I saw 2 videos that first popped up into my feed. And I go, oh, yes, these are my winners. These are people who have been participating even before the challenge started. But then I thought, oh, you know what? We have a winner for intro video and we have a winner for turning on notifications. So I went to the notifications post and I looked. Oh, okay. So something's going on with the challenge, or I mean the comments. We'll get it fixed. So I went to the notifications post, and guess what? Those two people that I saw their intro video, they were the first two people who also posted on notifications. So pay attention to how you're showing up. The people who show up and participate, not only are they do they have a better chance of winning, but they also have a better chance of changing their financial future. Okay. And also, we haven't even talked about, we're doing a grand prize at the end of the challenge of $500. So each day we're doing $50 winners. And then on the last day, we're going to announce one $500 winner. So pay attention to how you show up, how you participate, and how you implement, because you can win money and you can also change your financial future.
Yeah, and that's what the total of $1,000. So we're doing $1,000 giveaway. We decided to like split it up into daily cash prizes so everybody gets a little piece, and then $500 to one grand prize winner.
So winner number 2 today is, for turning on notifications, and she also did an intro video, Rockin' Robin. Congratulations, Rockin' Robin. And what I really loved about your intro video is you shared specific things that we have talked about, and you were implementing it real time. Like you had mentioned that you don't normally do a video or a live video, that you're normally kind of shy, but you heard us talk about pushing past the barrier, getting outside your comfort zone, and you were doing it right there, and you were showing us how you're growing and expanding, and that's absolutely going to show up in your results, in your life, your finances. So congratulations, Dina Kelly, Rockin' Robin. Reach out to us after the stream and we'll get you your
send us a DM
money.
on
Congratulations.
Facebook. Send us a DM on Facebook.
And we will see you guys tomorrow for our wealth building challenge day 3, where we talk about building block number 4, proper protection.
Very, very important one. You don't want to miss this one because it's
better
going to be
protect yourself before you wreck yourself.
All right. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Drop us in the comment. I'm also going to do a poll in the group, so look out for that and answer on there. Participate in the group and the homework.
Challenge! Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so on the last page of your workbook, holy Toledo. Okay, this is your challenge for today. For the debt management part, add up your good debt, and you want to make sure you're following along because there's blanks in your challenge in your workbook. You got to fill it out. Add your good debt versus bad debt and how you can increase credit. Post in the group how you can use good debt to build wealth. Yeah. So that's your challenge for debt management. Your challenge for reserves is post your reserve target number in the Facebook group. And also, if you don't have a separate account for reserves, open a separate account designated for reserves.
Yeah, and you don't have to post your debt in the group. You don't have to post that, but you should look at your add of a good debt versus bad debt. Do that on your own.
Yeah, you can post in the group how you can use good debt to increase your wealth.
Yeah. What are some of the ways you can use good debt based on our definition here? And then also post your reserve target, because the reserve target is just a target, right? It's a target you want to hit, and you're laying, hey, this is what my target is. This is what I want to get to. This is where I want to be at with my reserve target. So, all right. Okay, guys, we will catch you guys tomorrow, same time, noon Eastern time.
See ya. Have a great day. Bye. See, are we still live?
Maybe, so.